Everyone, I'm Pony IP with Red Team Village, and today, a NOP researcher and I will be interviewing Nahamsec. He's been a great partner to the Red Team Village for a few years now.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be here. And to give a quick intro, I'm Ben. Most people call me Nahamsec online. I have done a lot of bug bounties, and that was my click to fame in the past. And now I'm currently the VP of Research and Community at Hadrian, and I can't wait to see everybody in person at DEF CON this year.
Thanks for coming, Ben. We had a blast last year, and I think this year it's going to even be bigger. So I'm just kind of wondering, what are you most looking forward to this year at DEF CON?
Honestly, I look forward to mostly seeing people. Last year, I got to meet you guys in person for the first time after a few years of working with you all. But also, I feel like there was a piece missing last year. There was a lot of people that showed up, but also a lot of people that didn't show up because of the pandemic that was happening. So honestly, it feels good for conferences to be back. It feels great to know DEF CON is back. It's in person. A lot of people back are in person. I get to see friends that I don't usually see unless we go to Vegas every year.
For sure. We've been involved with NahamCon for a few years now as well, the conference that you run. Can you tell us a little bit about the origin story there?
Yeah, so it all started with another conference, actually. It was called VersaCon. And lucky for us and unlucky for the world, we planned VersaCon to be that first weekend when everything was shut down. Everything was completely shut down. The entire world was at home. And unfortunately, it worked out in our favor, even though there was a pandemic. The whole idea was, most people that have gotten to know me or that have met me at a conference, that have seen my content from a conference. I've gone to a lot of conferences, but I've always saw the conferences as too big. There's a lot of topics that get covered. If you go to B-sides, there's a lot of things like Red Team, Nahamsec, Blue Team, everything gets covered, right? And it wasn't something that I wanted to go to all the time. So the whole idea was, how do I put on a conference that I want to watch? And it's only content that I like. Selfishly, it was my conference. And I was like, who would I want to talk to? Who would I want to be involved? So at the time, Heath, the cyber mentor, was just becoming really, he got a lot of traction. He was one of the co-hosts, and Stoke was one of my friends. It still is one of my friends. We all came together and we hosted it. And Heath actually introduced me to John Hammond. He's like, hey, I know this guy is brilliant. His name is John. You could do a CTF for us. I didn't know who John was. It's like, screw it. Let's work with him. He seems amazing. Let's just bring him on. And that was the turnout that we got was incredible. And I did all that. We did all that for charity. It wasn't, everything we did was it went to a charity called Leukemia Lymphoma Society. I want to say that conference raised about $56,000 that went to them in a span of a month. And when that happened, I had almost 3,000 people watching, and I just sat in my office in the same room, and I was like, holy crap. If we can do this for a charity, I wonder if we can actually put on a legit con. Not that wasn't legit, but it was just very casual. We didn't expect anything big out of it. So I couldn't come up with a name. And I'm just going to do NahamCon. It's not going to stick. It's NahamCon happened. It was way bigger than I expected it to be ever. And I still have a problem with that name. It's not that I don't like it, but the whole purpose was to be not about me and the community, but it stuck, honestly. And it's been insane from someone who's gone to conferences. Having my own conference happening and people taking their Saturdays to come, and you guys even take your time to be willing to help me, and other villages like IoT Village helping me, INE's gotten involved in the past, Don Ethical Hacker was involved helping me. Seeing all these different big communities being willing to help me as a person, it feels incredible. So I've done 3 of them so far, and honestly, every year we found a way to make him bigger. And I'm kind of worried about this year's. I don't know how we're going to top it off. But the entire thing was, how do I make a conference that's more about the community and its talks for a niche community like bug bounties and red teamers, that it's just focused on that. It's just a one track, kind of like what you guys do. It's focused on red teaming, right? But it's very much, it's in that niche, and people are going to enjoy the content and relate to it or learn from it at least.
No, that's amazing. I know I personally have always loved NahamCon and kind of being able to get involved every year. So kind of what kind of led you down that path, though, to get involved with the Red Team Village? Like, why'd you decide to get involved?
So originally, Omar and I want to say, Omar and I think it's somebody else. Omar and I were talking about the NahamCon, VersaCon, and then ActivityCon that I hosted for HackerOne when I was there. And when the pandemic hit, so I did my talk the year before the pandemic. I was just a speaker at Red Team Village, and then the pandemic happened, and I don't know who reached out, but they were like, "Hey, we want to do something virtual." Um, and how do we do it? And then me being in streamer mode back in the day, when I really loved streaming, I was just like, oh, I know what to do. I could just make this about bug bounty and red teaming and anything. Like, how do you just own an organization and bring people that do this for a living? And you guys gave me the platform. You're like, hey, Friday is yours. Do what you want with it, however you want. And then getting to run with it from the creative perspective was what's really helpful for me, to be able to go, okay, I have complete creative control of what I want to do on Friday, and getting people to come and watch, I think was really amazing.
Yeah, I still think back. It was kind of crazy just how well it all fell together. A lot of planning involved, but man, all the pieces really fit.
Yeah, and it was the coolest thing was I've always, for me personally, was that I got to work with Red Team Village as a speaker, but never got to be involved like in the organization things, right? And that's kind of I got to meet you guys, Savannah, other people, and it was great to be able to go beyond just speaking and helping you guys, and also getting to know you guys. We hung out for a whole day. We had some fun.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. With all these villages that show up at DEF CON, is you've got multiple ways to be involved in, and you've spoken at villages before, but then you get to jump in with us with the organization, setting up the stream and everything. And so that's kind of a plug for anybody out there. If you want to get involved, I guarantee you that there are villages that could use the help, and you can kind of pick how much effort you want to put into it. You can put in hundreds of hours, or you can show up and do a little thing, but there's definitely a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be one of those volunteers, but just never knew what it meant. So this naturally happening on its own, and me being able to volunteer to help with the thing that I like to do and I'm passionate about, was really, really cool.
I can't plug that enough. Like, no matter what village you're interested in, even if it's not Red Team Village, right? They're all looking for volunteers. DEF CON's always looking for goons. There's always an opportunity one way or the other. So just get involved, right? All you have to do is just ask.
Yeah, I agree.
So this year, we've got you leading the opening keynote panel. Can you tell us a little bit about what we have planned for that?
Yeah, so I feel like with red teaming, it's such a broad category, right? You have your web guys, you have your Linux guy, Linux person, your Windows person. You have all these different, the physical person. Everyone has a skill set that they bring to the table, right? You have anywhere from 5 to whatever that number is, like a big team of people helping. And everybody wants to get into red teaming, but people don't know exactly what they want to do yet. What do you want to do? The physical pen test part? Do you want to do the web portion? What do you want to do, right? So the whole goal of the keynote was, instead of doing a talk on here's the things you need to do and learn, which is great if you're doing one of those, it's more of a bringing people that have done those things or to have the skills. Someone like John Hammond, who is pretty much a Swiss Army knife at this point. He knows everything and everything. He's got a great value to show. How did you learn all these different skill sets? Is it CTFs? If so, which ones? How did you pick? All the different things that he has done, or the content he has created or learned from. We also have All Has Red, who's a red teamer, and he has some really crazy ideas how he's fished recruiters from a resume he was telling me. He did on one of my streams one day, and having someone that's actually done the job or is doing the job to be able to verify some of these things that we were going to claim and explain some of his stories to us would be really, really cool. And the last person is O'Day. He is the number one hacker on Try Hack Me. And the reason why we asked Oda to come on board was he just has a very cool story of what his background was. I'm not going to spoil it. He's done some really cool stuff, but also becoming number one hacker on an educational platform, whether it's Hack the Box or Try Hack Me, it's a lot of work. And he's always been number one. It's not just he's went up to number one and fought back and went back up. He's always been number one. And being number one in that platform is a lot of different skills, right? There's some blue team stuff in there. There is some Privis. There is web. There is a bunch of different skills that you need to learn. I think he could also share how much time he's dedicated. What did he do? How did you learn those things? And what is he doing now? Is he using those skills and how it's helped him with his career?
That's great. It sounds like a nice diverse group with a lot of background. So that should be really interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully the people watching this want to come check it out Friday at 11 a.m. at Red Team Village.
Awesome. And before we wrap up, our dates already set for the next NahamCon. Do you have that to advertise or?
So usually I want to do it somewhere between March and April.
Mhm.
March is because it's the start of spring, mid March usually. So I try to do it, within the first few weeks of spring. So most people know I'm Iranian, and Iran or the New Year starts on the first day of spring, and I always like to do it within this first month if I can. I don't have a date yet. I'm working on it. I just have to figure out how do I top last year's NahamCon, because it was a little bit crazy and unreal for me to host NahamCon last year, and I want to make sure we bring the same quality out this year as well.
All right, so yeah, Ben, definitely looking forward to NahamCon again this year. Super excited about it. Just looking to see, what you do this year and kind of topping the previous years. So again, I just wanted to say thank you again for kind of supporting the Red Team Village, coming out, and everything that you do with us.
Of course, happy to help in any way possible, and excited to see you guys in a few weeks.
All right. We'll see you soon.
See ya.